Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my first trimester recap with baby number 2, and I will admit this is a few weeks late. I'm actually 17 weeks pregnant with my second baby. If you're new here, my name is Grace. I live in Oregon with my husband. I have a almost 14-month-old daughter named Ivy, and I'm currently pregnant with my second, who was a big surprise, but we're super excited to meet. Today we're going to be talking all about the first trimester. So I'll be talking about from before I even found out I was pregnant, like my earliest symptoms, all the way to 13 weeks. So that block of the first trimester. I'll be talking about symptoms and cravings, and I'll show you guys my bump, even though it's a little bit more than the first trimester bump by now. But yeah, I'm excited to dig into it. This first trimester has felt really different than my first pregnancy for quite a few reasons. I think a big part of it is because it was unexpected. And then I also just had, I don't know, I felt like everything kind of happened sooner. Like I started feeling all the symptoms sooner, which is interesting. So I have some notes here on my phone that I'm going to glance at because I cannot remember these things. Okay, so to start off, we're going to talk about early symptoms before testing, before getting a positive pregnancy test and knowing that I was pregnant. And these were things that kind of made me suspect that maybe I could be pregnant. So the first one is I had some cramping like midway through my cycle and spotting. So I thought maybe it was ovulation, but I think now that it was actually implantation, just with like the dates and stuff. But yeah, had that. That was probably the very first cue. Like I said, I didn't think too much of it at the time, but it was a little odd because I normally don't ever get spotting during my period. I've only had 3 since having Ivy, because I didn't get it back for a while with breastfeeding hormones and stuff. I got 3. Well, actually, no. I only had 2 because the third one is the one I got pregnant on. Okay, there you go. Okay, I also noticed I was like super hungry first thing in the morning, which is really strange. Usually it takes me like a little bit to get like an appetite in the morning, so that was kind of weird. I also found myself getting kind of like a little queasy near the end of my meals, which is also odd, not a normal thing. And I also found myself very emotional, just like tearing up at random stuff, like watching a commercial or like a YouTube ad, and I'm like tearing up all of a sudden, and it was weird. So all of those things, along with my period obviously being late, led me to suspect that I might be pregnant and to take a test, and lo and behold, it was positive. So those are kind of like month 1 symptoms, like before I found out. And after I found out, I kind of noticed some other things. Like almost immediately I started to get pretty short of breath, which I felt like came on very suddenly, but that's a very normal pregnancy thing. I had that my first one too, still have it if you can't tell. Also started noticing low back pain, specifically like my SI joints, my pelvis, which is not atypical for me, but it was like a little more than usual. And I also pretty much immediately started sleeping worse, which was so frustrating. Like Ivy sleeps wonderfully through the night, every night, pretty much, and I sleep terrible. I just wake up all the time and have trouble getting back to sleep, and it sucks. And I had that my first pregnancy too, and it's so frustrating because I really need the energy now that I have a toddler, and that's something that's continued up until now. Okay, moving on to month 2 symptoms. I was noticing more pelvic and joint pain, which is pretty typical, like as hormones start to shift, joints start to loosen up. So I was noticing a lot of that. I was still very short of breath and was getting kind of lightheaded and slightly nauseous in the morning. It never got to a point where I threw up or anything. I'm really lucky in that. Never threw up Ivy's pregnancy or this one so far. But yeah, just a little bit of nausea in the morning, like into the afternoon as well. I was also getting hungry very frequently, and I still am. Like almost every 3 hours on the dot, I am like starving and I'm almost like shaking because I'm hungry. Sorry if the angle changed a tiny bit. My camera just randomly stopped recording, so that's great. But yeah, hungry super often, so I'm making sure to eat like big nutritious meals, and I'm also snacking just to try and like keep up with that and not be quite so hungry. I also noticed myself being pretty bloated at this point, and I felt like I started showing like a lot earlier this time around, which I think is a combination of like being very bloated and then also still having like a little bit of a tummy from being pregnant so recently, and like it is my second baby, so like you do start to show a lot sooner. But that was kind of interesting. My breasts also started to get tender around this time, and I noticed like my temperature just seemed kind of off. I've been really cold during the day, even though we keep our house pretty warm, and I am like so hot at night. I'm like taking off the blankets, sleeping with the window all the way open, like so hot. So that's kind of odd. And also, as far as cravings go, was craving savory big time over sweet. I talked about this a little bit in my Q&A, but in the first trimester, was just craving like savory, like bar food almost, like chicken wings and burgers and nachos and just like really savory stuff. Like the worst one was wings. I wanted them so bad, and all the time. We must have ordered wings like, I don't know, probably like 6 or 7 times, like in the span of like 2 months, which is a little ridiculous. It's kind of an expensive craving. Luckily that's subsided by now, but it was like intense for a while. I also started to notice a little bit of round ligament pain, which like seemed so early for that. I don't remember getting that until like the 2nd or 3rd trimester, the first time I was pregnant, but I've noticed like if I kind of move or like twist too suddenly, I'll get like a little bit of round ligament pain. Another pregnancy symptom that I noticed pretty early on in the first trimester was acne, and I moved on over here to tell you guys a little bit more about it. I'm just at my vanity, and to also share with you some products I've been using that I feel like have really helped out my skin in the last couple months. So yeah, lots of hormones going on with pregnancy, obviously, and I'm definitely someone who's sensitive to hormonal acne. Actually, just got ready for bed and like washed my face and took my makeup off so that you guys can just like see my natural skin here. That's why I look a little different. I definitely noticed like I started to get some breakouts here and there, which isn't a huge deal, but it's obviously like no one wants a breakout, right? And I discovered a product that works super well, and some other things that have been really great for my skin. So I want to take a second and tell you guys about Dime Beauty. If you haven't already heard about them, you may have already. And thank you to Dime for partnering with me on this portion of today's video. Dime Beauty has really amazing clean products that are vegan as well as cruelty-free, which is absolutely amazing. And I feel like those things tend to be pretty expensive in general, but for being what it is, it's pretty affordable prices for being clean, I think especially. So Dime has a whole range of products from skincare to beauty products to perfumes, and they sent me a couple of things to try out. One thing that I was so excited to try, which is the one I especially wanted to tell you about, is their blue facial oil. Looks like this. Obviously it's very cute packaging. And I thought I would just show you guys how I use this. So this is their blue facial oil. It's a blemish aid. I really have seen a difference in my skin since I started using this. I definitely had some redness and some acne, like mostly in my T-zone. And I still have a little bit, you know. I don't know if some of those things will ever go away for me. Some of them are even just scarring. I have been using this. It's an oil, which I feel like feels counterintuitive to put on acne. I always thought like, oh, you're supposed to dry it out. But this has not made my skin break out. It's not made it super oily. You do a little drop. You can do more than that, but I only use it in like a small area. I only use this in the spots that are affected by acne for me. So for me, that's my T-zone, like specifically my nose. Sorry, I'm using the viewfinder of my mirror right now. A little bit on the forehead, a little bit like under my eyes I've been breaking out, which is kind of strange. A little under my nose, and then also on my chin. And those are the spots where I typically break out the most. So now I'm gonna be nice and dewy for the rest of this. And you just sleep with this. You put it on at night, sleep overnight. And like I said, I've noticed really like amazing results in my skin since I started using it. So I highly recommend if you're looking for something to help out with blemishes. Another product I've been trying out of theirs is their Wonder Screen. This is SPF 30. This is a sunscreen, a facial one, and I love it. I am very, very picky about my sunscreens. I put this on in the morning to protect my skin from the sun. As you can see, I'm very fair and the sun is coming out more, so that's definitely an important thing to do. And this is really cool because it goes on white. I'm not gonna put it on my face. I'm not gonna go outside anymore today. And then you start to rub it out and it goes on completely sheer, like once you rub it out, which I think is so nice. It doesn't leave you with that white cast, which I hate that. And it also doesn't smell like sunscreen. You know that like really heavy SPF smell? Like, oh, I hate that. This one, super lightweight. Doesn't make my skin break out, which is nice since it has been extra sensitive lately. And it honestly just gives it kind of like a nice dewiness. You can even like see in my hand. I've also been trying out their perfumes. They actually just restocked their clean perfume sample kit. So if you've been wanting to try any of the Dime perfumes, I know they're really popular. Like, this is your time if you want to kind of sample the different scents without committing to like a whole bottle yet. And I'll say I am a person that's pretty sensitive to fragrance, but I think these have a really nice smell. I just do like a tiny spritz and I'm good. My personal favorites are ILYSB, and then I also really like Malibu Nights. This is a great way to test out perfumes, and then if you really like one, you can go ahead and purchase a full-size bottle. And yeah, those are the products that I've been testing out the last few months, and I've been really enjoying them. I am excited to try more. There's definitely a few things that I have my eye on. If you guys want to try anything from Dime Beauty, you can use my code GRACEH20 and get 20% off anything on their website. You can also get free shipping if you spend over $49. So definitely recommend checking out Dime Beauty. And now let's get back to the rest of the pregnancy update. Okay, and then moving on to month 3, last month of the first trimester. I was feeling slightly better, so like I was less nauseous, I had a little bit more energy. That's another thing I actually didn't write down, but I just had such low energy for the first trimester, which is so hard. I know that's very normal, like that fatigue, but having a toddler to take care of, and like at that time a baby to take care of, you know, because she just turned a year old in February. It was exhausting. Like all you want to do is like you feel so tired and like nauseous. You just want to lay down, like watch TV, and you just can't do that. You have to take care of a baby all day long, and it's been so much harder and just more exhausting this time around. Luckily, that exhaustion started to fade once I got into the second trimester, but it was really rough the month 3, I noticed like I was actually starting to show a little. It wasn't just the bloating, which is kind of exciting to have like a little bitty bump. And also I was still getting headaches and migraines much more frequently than I was before. And weirdly, it seems to be triggered by certain foods, which is pretty common for migraines. Like I have migraines pretty typically, and I know like certain foods like caffeine triggers them, so I avoid that. But foods that were never an issue for me before, like trigger headaches and migraines now. Like peanuts, which is like, I'm not allergic to peanuts, but if I eat like some peanut butter, like minutes, like within the hour, I have a migraine, and it's so annoying. Same thing with wheat. It's very, very odd. I did ask my midwife about it, and she said that that is a thing that can happen in pregnancy. It's not super unheard of, so that was good to know that it's not, you know, like a sign of something bad, but still, that was just kind of odd. Some other things that happened, like moving on from symptoms more to like events. I had my first ultrasound. The first one was just a very informal ultrasound at the midwife's office, just to kind of see how big the baby was and that, you know, everything's in the right place and whatnot. But that's when the baby was like kind of at like the gummy bear phase and just so little. But I still think they're really cute. She couldn't get an exact read on like the measurements for dating. So I did have a dating ultrasound a few weeks later, and at that point, I think they measured me at like 12 weeks one day or something. And I got like my official due date and everything from that. At that ultrasound, the baby's heartbeat was 150 to 160 beats per minute. The baby was moving a lot, which was so cute. It was like kind of bouncing around in my tummy, which was just the sweetest thing. And the profile of the baby, because I mean, the difference between 9 and 12 weeks is like insane. You can see so much more. But the profile reminds me of Ivy's profile because she kind of has my nose. I think this baby does too. And then other than that, the first trimester was kind of like a big adjustment period of like the surprise that finding out that I'm pregnant and that we're gonna have 2 babies within like a year and a half of each other, and it was kind of a lot to process at first. So that was like my emotions was kind of like coming to terms and then starting to get like really excited and starting to bond with the baby. So yeah, that was pretty much the first trimester. Now I'm in the second. I will be doing, I'm not sure if I'm going to do like monthly updates or maybe bi-monthly or just stick with trimesters. I'm not sure yet. In the next one, we will have had the anatomy scan. I've started to feel the baby move, so I'll talk about that. We'll know the gender at that point, which is so exciting. And yeah, so those are all things to look forward to. Before we go, I do want to show you my bump real quick. I'm wearing like the baggiest little sweatshirt dress, but anyways, that work. I'm wearing like a lot of layers here. This is where my tummy's at. So I definitely have like a little bit of a bump going on here. Like down in this area is like pretty firm. I mean, obviously it's still a little squishy, but it's pretty firm. And this is where I feel the baby move, which is so fun. And yeah, I'm definitely like showing more early than I was the first time around. But I still feel like I'm at a point where like I could easily hide it and like you can't really tell I'm pregnant yet unless like you know, if you know, you know. So yeah, I'm excited to like get a big bump again, but I'm also just kind of enjoying having a little one because it is significantly more comfortable. If you guys have any questions about first trimester stuff, leave them in the comments and I will do my best to respond to those. Thank you guys so much for watching, for supporting my channel, supporting me through this pregnancy. If you haven't yet, I would absolutely love it if you would hit the subscribe button and join our little community here. It's an ever-growing community and I just love that. You guys are so sweet and so supportive. I'm super grateful. And if you also want to like this video and share it with anyone that you think would enjoy it, that helps my channel out so much. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!